Have you ever pondered why certain individuals appear to become more isolated as they grow older, while others remain enveloped in affection and companionship? It's more than merely wrinkles or the passage of time. As we age, we inevitably adopt habits, subtle, insidious ones, that can silently alienate others, harm connections, and complicate life more than necessary. The most terrifying aspect? Many of us remain unaware of our actions until the moment has passed us by. However, there is a silver lining. This video will guide you on how to make those changes. We're exploring the unspoken habits that often go unnoticed. The ones that silently invade your existence, robbing you of happiness, well-being, and intimacy with those around you. Meet Julie, a 71-year-old retired librarian, whose journey uncovers the origins of these habits and the remarkable transformation she achieved. What makes it worthwhile to stay engaged until the very last moment? We are revealing 9 unexpected pitfalls that may be impacting you or a loved one at this moment, along with straightforward, actionable solutions to escape them. Prepare to be astonished by number 7. It's the one that often goes unnoticed until it has taken a significant toll. Ultimately, you'll encounter a challenge that has the potential to change your life from this very moment onward. Stay tuned to learn how to identify these habits before they dominate your life, how to rekindle relationships you believed were gone, and how to embrace aging with intention rather than remorse. If you've ever experienced a sense of disconnection, felt trapped, or simply wondered what might be hindering your progress, this message is meant for you. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive in, because the more you delay, the tougher it becomes to make a change. I suggest you consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell to ensure you stay updated with all the latest videos. Your encouragement is truly appreciated, and if this video resonated with you, consider helping me share these important insights by liking and sharing it. If this video resonates with you, feel free to drop a comment with a 1. If you don't, kindly leave a comment with a 0, so I can understand how to enhance and create better videos for you. Let us commence. First and foremost, falling into a pattern of excessive negativity or criticism. Sarah never envisioned herself as someone who held on to negativity. She always considered herself a person who candidly expressed her thoughts and maintained honesty with those in her vicinity. Yet, as time flowed onward, she became aware of a transformation taking place inside her. Initially, it was understated, a quiet sigh now and then, a brief murmur of discontent, but over time, it evolved into a recurring theme she found impossible to overlook. The dawn brought with it the all-too-familiar twinges and discomforts of age, prompting her to quietly lament the passage of time. It was just a light-hearted complaint, wasn't it? Yet it quickly seeped into other aspects of her day. As she tuned into the news, her irritation mounted with each unfolding story, a profound sense of powerlessness and rage about the state of the world enveloping her. And as she addressed her younger relatives, her words became pointed. In her time, there was a greater sense of respect, she'd remark, accompanied by an eye roll, as if the younger generation was somehow letting down her era. Initially, she was oblivious to the impact it was having on her connections with others. It appeared to be innocuous, merely straightforward thoughts, wouldn't you agree? Yet gradually, dialogues grew more concise. Friends started to shy away from meaningful conversations, instinctively navigating around subjects they recognized would trigger yet another outburst. Even her grandchildren, who once looked forward to visiting her, started to find reasons to avoid spending time with her. What Sarah was unaware of, in that moment, was the gradual and subtle erosion of her negativity. Regardless of the reasons, it's never pleasant to walk away from a discussion feeling more troubled than before. Negativity acts like a heavy burden, dragging individuals down and causing them to withdraw instead of engage. In truth, one can easily fall into a pattern of critique. Life often presents a whirlwind of challenges as the world evolves, particularly when circumstances appear confusing or unsettling. Our bodies no longer operate as they once did. Activities that used to feel effortless, such as shopping, driving, or navigating a smartphone, can unexpectedly transform into sources of irritation. Expressing those feelings can bring a sense of relief. However, when pessimism turns into your usual state, it transforms into a barrier that separates you, instead of serving as a means to navigate your feelings. What are the ways to transform this energy? Begin your discussions with a touch of optimism. Rather than starting with grievances, think about opening with appreciation. I awoke today with a sense of positivity, and the sunset from last night was truly stunning, perfect for your daily musings. Uplifting vibes have a tendency to radiate outward. It captivates. Individuals are attracted to those who elevate their spirits instead of burdening them. When you find the need to express your feelings, be sure to establish boundaries. Allow yourself a few moments to articulate your frustrations, and then transition to a more productive endeavor. Inquisitiveness holds greater strength than judgment. Inquire freely, particularly regarding matters that are unclear to you. Rather than brushing off the interests of your grandkids, be it an app or a game, consider responding with curiosity. Tell me more about that. It fosters a bond, instead of driving them apart. As Sarah began to implement these subtle adjustments, embracing a positive outlook, demonstrating sincere curiosity about her grandkids' experiences, and frequently sharing her appreciation, she observed a significant transformation. Discussions extended over time. Individuals started to share their thoughts with her once more. Gradually, the comforting embrace of connection that had once eluded us began to return. What she discovered, initially through hardship, was that the energy you invest in the world is the energy you attract in return. To forge a bond, one must first extend it. It begins with your words, your presence in the world, and the perspective you decide to adopt. Second place. Neglecting self-care and grooming. Once upon a time, Sarah found joy in adorning herself with beautiful outfits. She embraced her appearance with confidence, meticulously selecting the ideal outfit, applying her makeup with precision, and ensuring her hair was styled flawlessly before stepping out the door. Her wardrobe was a stunning array of garments, with blouses in every hue, complemented by a signature fragrance that she wore with unwavering confidence. Yet, as time passed, a transformation started to unfold. It began with little choices, like missing hair appointments or choosing cozy, loose-fitting clothes over the fashionable ensembles she once favored. She started to ponder, what's the point? She had stopped seeking the approval of others. As time passed, she discovered that she spent her days in her loungewear, seldom casting a look in the mirror. She assured herself that it was of no consequence. Yet, beneath the surface, a transformation was quietly unfolding within her. She began to sense a change within herself. It wasn't solely about the perceptions of others, it was fundamentally about her own self-perception. Sarah started to observe how others interacted with her. Once, strangers would admire her vibrant outfits, but now they hardly glanced her way. Friends, who previously extended invitations for lunch or a movie, began to ask her to join less often. As Sarah gazed at the old photographs, she struggled to identify the lively woman she had once been. Where had she disappeared to? What became of the woman who exuded happiness and self-assurance? The realization she had yet to fully understand was that the way we showcase ourselves to the world influences not just others' perceptions of us, but also our own self-perception. Personal appearance transcends mere vanity. It revolves around valuing oneself, embracing the essence of who you are, no matter your age. It's about being present for yourself, embracing your identity, and affirming your worth. What is the method to undo this? Begin with small, achievable actions. Put on your clothes, even if there's no special occasion ahead. It doesn't need to be a high-end ensemble. Simply put, it's about wearing clothes that are tidy and fit well, allowing you to feel at ease and confident in your own skin. Engaging in a shower, grooming your hair, and tidying your nails, these seemingly minor rituals convey a significant affirmation to oneself: I deserve this attention. Donning an outfit that resonates with your heart, something that sparks happiness, can truly uplift your soul. The subtle nuances, such as a hint of fragrance or a cherished accessory, can truly transform the experience. They evoke a sense of your identity, reflecting the woman you have always been and the one you continue to evolve into. As Sarah began to focus on these small rituals once more, brushing her hair, slipping into her favorite blouse, and adding a touch of lipstick, she observed something enchanting unfolding. She began to feel a sense of lightness, a surge of confidence, and indeed, a renewed sense of beauty. As she entered the room, smiles blossomed on the faces around her. She felt acknowledged. And, most significantly, she rediscovered her true self. The vibrant woman she believed she had lost seemed to be quietly re-emerging, not only in the perceptions of others but also in her own reflection. Third on the list. Developing a sense of obstinacy and an unwillingness to adapt. If you're still engaged with this video and appreciate the lessons, kindly drop a comment with a 1 below to show me you're still with me. Sarah had always taken great pride in her ability to discern her preferences with clarity and precision. She was firmly entrenched in her habits, and that had consistently provided her with a sense of security. What's the reason to alter something that has proven successful for so many years? However, when her children and grandchildren began to communicate via text messages rather than phone calls, Sarah was reluctant to embrace this change. She would wave away their offers to teach her, insisting that she didn't need to learn all that. If they wish to communicate with me, they can simply give me a call. However, as time passed, those phone calls dwindled significantly. Updates about family, snapshots, and birthday notifications started pouring in exclusively through group chats she declined to participate in. At first, she was unaware, but she was gradually isolating herself from those she cherished the most. It transcended mere technology. It revolved around maintaining connections, being involved in their journeys, and embodying affection. Yet, Sarah's unwavering resolve had started to create a distance between her and others. Change is an unavoidable reality. As life progresses, it's natural to experience a sense of resistance when it seems as though the world is advancing without you. The key, however, is to remain receptive. It's simple to declare, I don't require that, yet there lies a subtle power in expressing, I'll give it a shot. Embracing change, regardless of its size, maintains your engagement and sharpens your skills. There's no need to master everything in a single day. Begin with the little details. Allow your grandchildren to guide you in sending a text or immerse yourself in a show they adore. Rather than resisting change, welcome it with open arms. One often remains unaware of the treasures that lie beyond their current experiences until they take the plunge and explore. When Sarah finally allowed her granddaughter to show her the ropes of texting, she was taken aback by its simplicity. What astonished her even further, however, was the surge of connections she had overlooked. Everyday snapshots of her great-grandchildren, shared laughter over inside jokes, and brief messages that reinforced her sense of belonging. By releasing her resistance, she found the ability to welcome something far more precious than mere advancements in technology. Link. It transcended the mere act of texting. It was about maintaining connections with those who held the greatest significance in my life. In this journey, she discovered not only fresh avenues for expression but also unearthed a profound sense of love and connection within her relationships. Fourthly, clinging to possessions and resisting the urge to declutter. Sarah had always possessed a deep sense of nostalgia. For her, each object in her home was imbued with a narrative, a cherished memory, a fragment of history she found impossible to let go of. Amidst the forgotten birthday cards that had languished in obscurity for decades, there lay piles of newspapers she had vowed to read, someday, alongside garments that had not graced her figure in years. Yet, the thought of parting with them was unbearable. She held on to them, just in case. Throughout the years, her formerly inviting abode, once a tranquil refuge, had evolved into a daunting labyrinth of possessions, filling every nook, every ledge, and every space. She could no longer ignore the truth. What was once a sanctuary had transformed into a war zone, cluttered with belongings she scarcely engaged with yet found impossible to part from. Initially, Sarah believed everything was fine. She persuaded herself that all things held significance. She frequently remarked, "I could find it useful one day." It provided a sense of security, warmth, and a soothing assurance to hold on to everything. Yet, in reality, the relentless chaos had started to stifle the essence of her home, her tranquility, and her very soul. As time went on, she realized she was becoming increasingly weary from the effort of attempting to tidy up and maneuver through the heaps. Maintaining her home in an orderly fashion grew increasingly challenging, making it difficult to locate essentials and even to extend invitations to others without a sense of embarrassment over the clutter. Her once welcoming space now stood as a testament to her entrapment in the past, a reluctant grip on what had long ceased to benefit her. When her daughter softly proposed that perhaps she should consider releasing a few things, Sarah fought against it with all her strength. "What if I require them in the future?" she contended. However, the chaos didn't merely occupy her living space, it started to invade her thoughts as well. The burden of carrying so much weight upon her, overshadowing the joy of the moment and obscuring her sense of tranquility. It transcended mere possessions. It revolved around the weight of feelings she had gathered over time with them. Releasing attachments is always a challenge, particularly when it seems as though a fragment of your soul is connected to every item. However, the reality is this. Clinging to excess, be it physical items or emotional weight, can foster a feeling of stagnation, hindering progress and obstructing the ability to fully engage with the present moment. It's a quiet intruder that steals your clarity and tranquility. Sarah came to the profound understanding that in order to reclaim her sense of freedom, she needed to release her grip on the past. Escaping the chaos of clutter is a gradual journey. It demands a gentle approach, self-compassion, and the bravery to confront the reality that not everything you cling to is necessary. How does one even start to untangle this overwhelming chaos? Begin with the basics. Approach each drawer, each shelf, each box individually. The idea of tackling the entire decluttering process in one go can seem overwhelming, yet dividing it into smaller, more manageable sections makes it much easier to handle. Consider whether this is something you truly utilize. Does it spark joy for me? If the response is negative, then it's time to part ways. Consider giving away items that could benefit others, recycling those that have lost their purpose, or sharing cherished belongings with family members who will appreciate them. Transform decluttering into a routine, an effortless part of your daily life. Establish a modest objective. Eliminate one item daily. A seemingly minor yet steady effort can result in significant change as time progresses. And we must also consider the practical side of everything. Disorder doesn't merely induce mental strain. It may pose risks as well. It heightens the likelihood of falls, accidents, and injuries. A dwelling transcends mere shelter. It ought to be a space that brings you comfort, tranquility, and serenity. When Sarah finally made the bold choice to declutter, a remarkable transformation unfolded. The burden eased from her shoulders, and the change was more than merely physical. She gave away clothes she hadn't touched in years, recycled old magazines that had been collecting dust, and arranged her living space to make it simpler to locate the items that truly mattered. Do you want to know something? After a long time, Sarah experienced a newfound tranquility within her home. It was not merely cleaner, it felt lighter, brighter, and more inviting. A newfound sense of liberation washed over her, born from letting go of the past and fully welcoming the present moment. And above all, she felt a renewed thrill at the prospect of inviting friends over once more. A sensation that had eluded her for ages. 5. Sarah had never considered herself to be someone who easily loses patience with others. She consistently endeavored to embody kindness, empathy, and forgiveness. Yet, as the days passed, she began to observe subtle fissures forming in her composure. Small instances where annoyance surged and she struggled to maintain her poise. On a quiet afternoon, she found herself at the grocery store, patiently waiting in line with a cart brimming with various items. The young cashier moved slowly, struggling with the bags, and Sarah sensed her irritation growing. What makes him take his time? Isn't there a way for him to pick up the pace? She pondered, a surge of frustration bubbling within her. The words slipped from her lips before she had a chance to hold them back. Could you please speed things up a bit? As soon as the words escaped her lips, she noticed the cashier's expression change dramatically. He cast his gaze downward, his hands quivering ever so slightly as he endeavored to complete his task. That's when it struck her. The young man was inexperienced, anxious, and striving to give his all. And there she stood, lashing out at him as though he were the source of her frustration. A sudden wave of guilt washed over her. Was she transforming into the exact individual she once found distasteful? The individual who was hasty to form opinions, swift to react, yet reluctant to extend kindness? The truth struck with intensity. As we age, it becomes increasingly common to find ourselves lacking patience with those around us. Life unfolds at its own rhythm, and it can be exasperating when the surroundings don't keep up with our desired tempo. However, the reality is that impatience complicates life not only for oneself but also for those around them. It complicates things for us as well. It heightens our stress, obscures our clarity, and taints our connections with those we meet. How can we cultivate patience and kindness, particularly when it seems like life is dragging on? The initial step is straightforward. Take a moment to reflect before responding. As irritation begins to surface, pause for a moment and inhale deeply. Should I really be bothered by this? Consider that the slow driver could be a beloved grandparent, and the cashier struggling with the bags might be a diligent student doing their utmost. Sometimes, a touch of patience can yield remarkable results. When frustration starts to rise, consider changing your viewpoint. Rather than reacting harshly, extend a smile, share a kind word, or simply say, "Take your time." Sarah took this action the next time she encountered the same young cashier. She beamed, praised his hard work, and assured him he was excelling in his tasks. His face brightened, and in that instant, Sarah understood the profound impact of kindness. It requires so little to brighten someone's day, to lighten their load. Patience, ultimately, serves not only as a kindness to those around us but also as a profound blessing for our own well-being. Opting for patience instead of frustration fosters reduced stress, improved interactions, and a more tranquil heart. Sarah had always relished the art of conversation. She possessed an abundance of tales to tell, wisdom to impart, and moments to revisit. Throughout the years, she had earned a reputation as the family's narrative weaver. However, there was a single issue. She was unaware of how frequently she took control of the discussions. One day, her daughter, who had been reaching out less frequently, finally decided to share her thoughts with her. "Mom, I cherish our conversations, but there are moments when I feel like my voice isn't being acknowledged," her daughter admitted. "It seems that our conversations revolve entirely around you, leaving me with little opportunity to express my thoughts." Sarah was taken aback. How could she have missed it? She came to understand that whenever they conversed, she would eagerly interject with her own experiences, narratives, and counsel, hardly taking a moment to truly listen. In reality, Sarah had become so engrossed in imparting her insights that she overlooked the importance of allowing her daughter the opportunity to express herself, to truly be listened to. She was speaking, yet failing to hear. As we grow older, it can be tempting to believe that we possess all the solutions. We aim to convey the lessons we've learned, to share the insights we've gathered throughout our journey. However, if we neglect to invest the time in listening, in genuinely understanding our loved ones, we run the risk of alienating them. Sarah confronted the truth that, in her eagerness to connect, she had inadvertently distanced herself from those she cherished the most. Achieving more meaningful dialogues hinges on equilibrium. Take action. Pay attention. After sharing your thoughts for a moment, take a break and inquire, "How about you? How have you been faring lately?" Take the time to truly engage with what the other person is expressing. Hold back the impulse to interject, even when you have an intriguing tale to share. Allow the other individual the opportunity to express themselves. Pose questions that encourage genuine dialogue and exploration. Rather than just inquiring, "How have you been?" Consider inquiring about an exciting event that took place this week. The next time Sarah spoke with her daughter, she intentionally focused on listening. She inquired further, allowed her daughter to express herself, and reserved her guidance for moments of genuine necessity. The outcomes were truly remarkable. Their dialogues evolved into extended, heartfelt exchanges filled with significance. Sarah discovered that the most meaningful exchanges aren't driven by speaking more, but by listening more attentively. In that unassuming moment of attentiveness, she unearthed the profound essence of connection. Seventh in line. Isolating oneself rather than seeking assistance. If you're still engaged with this video and appreciate these lessons, please drop a 2 in the comments to show me you're still with me. Sarah had always taken great pride in her unwavering independence. It defined her essence, her very existence. For decades, she devoted herself to nurturing and caring for those around her. Nurturing her children with boundless affection, orchestrating a lively home with skillful precision, and extending a helping hand to those in her community. It was gratifying to feel essential, to be the person others rely on. Yet, as time went on, a shift began to unfold. The once straightforward tasks that she could accomplish with ease started to loom before her as daunting challenges. One afternoon, she found herself grappling with a heavy grocery bag as she tried to lift it from her car, her arms quivering under the burden. A young man strolled by and, seeing her in distress, approached her with a warm smile and extended his assistance. "Could you use some assistance with that?" he inquired. With a sense of pride, Sarah managed to smile and shook her head. "No, thank you. I can handle it." Yet she chose not to. She did not. As she pulled the cumbersome bag through the door, the strain in her back grew sharper, and a surge of frustration and loneliness enveloped her. "Every step weighed down on me more than the one before, not solely due to the physical exertion, but also because of the emotional burden that came with turning away someone's generosity." She had distanced herself from a person who genuinely sought to assist, someone who recognized her difficulties and wished to alleviate them. In that instant, Sarah experienced a profound sense of isolation, deeper than she had ever known. Later that night, as she sat in the stillness of her home, the painful realization struck her like a chilling breeze. Her unwillingness to seek assistance, to embrace support, wasn't enhancing her strength. No, it was gradually distancing her from the very bonds that had once provided her solace. She opted for solitude instead of companionship, self-sufficiency rather than mutual reliance. What makes seeking assistance a demonstration of strength rather than a sign of weakness? Seeking assistance is not a sign of weakness, it opens the door for others to express their care, love, and support for you. Individuals truly desire to assist, yet if you persist in excluding them, ultimately, they will cease to extend their support. And when that moment arrives, you'll discover that you're not only weighed down physically, but also deprived emotionally. Embracing assistance nurtures bonds. It forges connections between souls, crafting instances of collective humanity that transcend the immediate objective. From holding a door open to lifting a heavy load or offering a listening ear, allowing others to assist enriches life, easing burdens not only in a physical sense but also on an emotional level. It's a gentle nudge that we are not intended to face our battles in solitude. When you allow others to feel valuable, you are bestowing upon them a precious gift. Can you envision a life where assistance was never sought from you? You might sense a lack of significance, a feeling of being unnecessary. Why not embrace the opportunity for others to share in the joy of helping you? Sarah understood that transformation was necessary. The next time someone extended a hand, she vowed to herself that she would set aside her pride. She would agree. The next time she found herself at the store and spotted that young man once more, Sarah offered a warm smile and said, "Actually, I could use a little help today." His expression lit up, and as he took the bag from her grasp, Sarah sensed a burden ease, not from her shoulders, but from her heart. In that brief interaction, a profound change stirred within her. She experienced a profound sense of recognition, worth, and, above all, a deep connection. Have you ever experienced the challenge of reaching out for assistance or the satisfaction of extending a hand to another? This experience serves as a profound reminder of our shared journey and interconnectedness. It's perfectly fine to allow others to come closer. 8. Being overly cautious with spending can hinder the enjoyment of life. Sarah had consistently exemplified the essence of financial wisdom. With a knack for managing finances, she eagerly clipped coupons, effortlessly forewent vacations, and took her time before committing to any non-essential purchase. Even with a decent sum tucked away, a persistent unease lingered in her thoughts. What happens if I require this money in the future? What if an unforeseen event occurs? The routine was an unending loop of accumulation, accumulation, accumulation. But for what purpose? What was the purpose of amassing riches if she wasn't embracing the life she envisioned? One day, Sarah received an invitation from her best friend, Emily, for a weekend getaway to the countryside. "It will be an absolute blast, Sarah," Emily exclaimed, her voice brimming with enthusiasm. "We will embark on an adventure, savor delicious cuisine, and simply unwind." Sarah's first reaction was to decline. Journeying involved financial expenditure. Dining out involved a financial commitment. Every aspect of it filled her with unease. What if I feel remorse about that expenditure? Yet, beneath the surface, a quiet thought lingered. When was the last occasion I indulged myself? For years, Sarah had existed in the mentality of preparing for a future moment. As she stood there, gazing at Emily's invitation, Sarah found herself lost in thought. What if that day never arrives? What is the purpose of saving if I'm not experiencing life in the present? What is the significance of taking pleasure in your finances? Practicing financial responsibility is certainly crucial. Yet, existence transcends merely accumulating wealth. It's all about existence. Genuinely experiencing life. Experiences, such as travel, outings, or hobbies, provide a deeper, more enduring joy than any material possession ever can. Research indicates that investing in experiences fosters lasting memories that endure well beyond the moment the purchase is made, whereas material possessions, such as objects, gadgets, and clothing, tend to diminish in value over time. Sarah had dedicated herself tirelessly throughout her life to reach this point, to establish a foundation of financial stability. Yet, security devoid of fulfillment resembles a hollow container. A harmonious life hinges on achieving balance. Relishing the rewards of your hard work only enhances your accomplishments. It pays tribute to them. What steps can Sarah take to alter this habit? She chose to allow herself the freedom to indulge, to savor the small joys of life. Whether it was a dinner out, a spontaneous hobby, or a weekend getaway, she promised to embrace experiences that enriched her spirit. She even established a playful account, a dedicated fund solely for her enjoyment. When Emily invited her for the weekend trip again, Sarah didn't hesitate this time. She agreed, and how everything changed. In those 2 days, her laughter flowed more freely than it had in months. She basked in the warmth of the sun on her face, savored the delight of delicious food shared with cherished companions, and, above all, rediscovered the essence of living life to the fullest. As she sat beside Emily, watching the sunset unfold, a profound realization washed over her. This was the moment she had been waiting for all along. The instances, the recollections, the bond. Wealth should serve to enhance her joy, rather than remain idle in a financial institution. What experience have you been delaying due to financial constraints? Life doesn't pause for your preparation. The moment has arrived. Item 9. Condescending towards the youth. Sarah cherished her grandson, Noah. His visits brought a spark to her week. She was captivated by tales of his school experiences, his interests, and particularly his enthusiasm for video games. However, recently, those visits seemed to carry a different weight, feeling more remote. Their exchanges had turned tense, uncomfortable even. She observed that Noah seemed less inclined to engage in conversation, more focused on his phone than on their shared moments. One afternoon, Noah enthusiastically shared details about a new app that had captured his interest. In a moment of exasperation, Sarah let out a sigh and gently shook her head. "In my time, we managed just fine without all this modern technology." Children ventured outdoors to engage in play, rather than fixate on screens throughout the day. Noah fell silent. A few moments later, he muttered, "I should probably be on my way." The door clicked shut behind him, leaving Sarah in solitude, a sharp pang of regret piercing her heart. She never intended to create distance between them, yet that was exactly what she had done. Her words, intended to convey insight, only succeeded in leaving him feeling overlooked and unvalued. In her quest for connection, she inadvertently erected a barrier that separated them. What is it about condescending communication with younger generations that drives them away? It's simple to become trapped in the fond memories of yesteryears, yet persistently telling younger generations that the past was superior can diminish the significance of their own experiences and struggles. Rather than promoting comprehension, it breeds separation. Each generation encounters distinct challenges and struggles. Rather than casting judgment, we ought to uplift them, providing support and encouragement. What steps can Sarah take to alter this habit? The next time Noah brought up something new, Sarah inhaled deeply and replied, "That sounds intriguing. Share additional details with me." She acknowledged it. Instead, she embraced curiosity. She took the time to grasp his perspective, posing inquiries that allowed him to feel acknowledged. As Noah laid out his game strategy, a remarkable transformation unfolded. They forged a bond, not through judgment, but through shared admiration. Their dialogue unfolded effortlessly, and for the first time in ages, they experienced a moment of true connection. How about you? Have you ever found it challenging to connect with the younger crowd? What facilitated the connection? At times, the focus isn't on transforming them. It involves grasping their perspective, viewing the world from their vantage point, and connecting with them in their current state. 10. Clinging to past grievances and remorse. Clinging to grudges and regrets resembles toting a burdensome load that gradually depletes your strength, piece by piece. It transcends a mere mental weight. It infiltrates every aspect of your existence, robbing you of current happiness and obscuring your viewpoint. Whenever you linger on past hurts, you miss out on the splendor of the here and now. Have you ever found yourself reflecting on a past injustice or betrayal, and in that moment, it feels as though you're not just revisiting the hurt, but the world around you seems to lose a bit of its brightness? That's the hold of bitterness. Holding tightly to those negative memories only serves to create a greater distance from the love and joy that envelopes you in the present moment. It's a hard truth to face, yet resentment can subtly undermine connections. It slips in quietly, often overlooked, complicating the bonds with those you hold dear. Unbeknownst to you, that resentment silently builds into a barrier that separates you from those you hold dear. In the most challenging situations, it can transform into frustration, accumulating gradually, until your heart feels encased in ice, leaving you to ponder why a sense of isolation lingers, even amidst a throng of people. And we must consider the impact it has on your well-being. Grudges and regrets transcend mere emotional baggage. It's a tension that remains within you. The ongoing strain and pessimism can elevate your blood pressure, disrupt your sleep, and potentially harm your immune system. It may be easy to brush aside, yet within, you recognize its impact on you. One cannot escape the repercussions of clinging to past suffering. If you're still engaged with this video and appreciate these lessons, kindly drop a 3 in the comments to show me you're still with me. How can you release what holds you back and discover the emotional liberation that is rightfully yours? It begins with embracing the difficult reality that the past is irreversible. What has been done is irrevocable, and regardless of how often you revisit those moments in your thoughts, they remain unchanged. Rather than questioning, "Why did this occur to me?" consider approaching that question from a different angle. Inquire, "What insights can I gain from this experience?" By taking this step, you liberate yourself from the hold of what once was and enable yourself to create a future that is more vibrant and fulfilling. Letting go is essential. Not for the one who caused you pain, but for your own well-being. Forgiveness does not mean condoning poor actions. Instead, you are unleashing its influence on you. You are liberating yourself. It's a difficult reality, but releasing those grudges doesn't indicate a lack of strength. It requires bravery and resilience. It's about reclaiming authority over your existence, your tranquility, and your emotions. Shifting your focus can be challenging, yet when you find yourself falling back into familiar patterns of resentment, take a moment to pause and steer your thoughts towards something uplifting in the present. Consider crafting a letter that conveys all the emotions and thoughts you've kept bottled up. Then, shred it, set it ablaze, or allow it to float away, embracing the moment to let go of everything. You deserve at least that much. Sarah's narrative embodies this journey. For years, she bore the weight of old wounds. One evening, holding a piece of paper, she resolved it was time to release everything. She bared her soul on that page, every regret, every scar. With a deep breath, she finally let them go. At that instant, a transformation occurred within her. After what seemed like an eternity, she experienced a sense of lightness, a newfound freedom. The burden that had weighed her down for years was finally lifted, enabling her to progress. 11. Disregarding health issues. Overlooking health issues might initially appear to be an easy way out. Who is eager to confront the chance that something might be amiss? However, this refusal, this evasion, can be exceedingly perilous. Minor signs that we often overlook may actually serve as the body's subtle alerts to more significant issues at play. The dizziness you've been experiencing? It might be dehydration, or potentially, an early indication of a stroke. That weariness you often link to getting older? It might be an instance of heart disease that hasn't been diagnosed yet. We frequently assure ourselves that it's trivial, or that it will eventually fade away. However, the reality is that postponing checkups ultimately results in more severe consequences later on. Minor concerns, if ignored, can escalate into significant health emergencies. What holds us back from taking action? What leads us to persuade ourselves that it's acceptable to overlook something that seems off? Perhaps it's due to our hectic lives and relentless focus on various tasks that we overlook the signals our bodies are trying to convey. Perhaps we fear the truths that await us. However, the reality is that overlooking those warning signs does not make them vanish. It simply exacerbates the situation. It's always simpler to prevent issues than to handle them in a crisis. With minor tweaks to our daily habits, such as enhancing our nutrition or incorporating consistent physical activity, we can steer clear of significant health crises. Taking proactive steps is a precious act of nurturing oneself, and it's something we frequently neglect. Sarah discovered this truth through a challenging experience. Following her fall, which left her grappling with pain in the hospital, she came to understand how easily she had neglected her well-being. She believed she could simply push through, convinced that the dizziness was merely a consequence of aging. Yet that autumn, that jarring realization, shifted her perspective entirely. She vowed to herself that she would always pay attention to the subtle hints from now on. She would pay attention to her body, prioritize her well-being, and cease neglecting her health. She began to increase her water intake, enroll in balance classes, and arrange consistent checkups with her doctor. Embracing her health journey allowed her to maintain her autonomy. It involved accepting it, by taking charge of her well-being before the situation deteriorated. And that's the insight we can all take away from Sarah. Take a moment to reflect. Have you been overlooking a message your body has been trying to convey? Act before the moment slips away. Your well-being deserves your utmost attention. Seize the moment and act without delay. Embrace the opportunity to experience a rich and lively existence. It begins with attuning yourself to the subtle messages your body conveys. In the serene atmosphere of her living room, Sarah leafed through vintage photo albums, nostalgia washing over her as she recalled moments brimming with laughter, joy, and exhilaration. She glimpsed images of herself engaging with her grandkids, twirling at family gatherings, beaming in the sunlight. She came to understand that at some point, she had ceased to pursue that particular kind of joy. Life had settled into a predictable rhythm, lacking excitement. However, when Emily extended an invitation for a movie night, Sarah hesitated. Still, a part of her chose to embrace the affirmative. That night, as the laughter surged from deep within her, Sarah sensed a part of herself come alive. The happiness that had been hidden for ages lingered, eager to be unearthed once more. For the first time in ages, she recalled the sensation of laughter that made her stomach ache and brought tears to her eyes. Joy is the remedy for the spirit. It transcends mere amusement or entertainment. It's an essential component of our emotional and physical health. It reduces stress, enhances immunity, improves blood flow, and even aids in memory retention. Laughing effortlessly draws us nearer to others, fortifying connections and fostering relationships. As we grow older, laughter serves as a gentle reminder that our hearts can still embrace youthfulness. It's a soft encouragement to find happiness and to welcome the little joys that life presents. As Sarah departed from Emily's home that evening, she felt a sense of lightness within her. It dawned on her that joy wasn't merely a chance encounter, it was a conscious choice she could make. The following morning, rather than tuning into the news or allowing her usual routine to shape her day, she turned up her favorite music and twirled around her kitchen. The instant of laughter, the choice to welcome joy back into her life, marked the start of something truly beautiful. It's always the right time to choose for yourself. Seize the moment without hesitation. Bring it to life. Select happiness. As we contemplate the significance of releasing resentments, focusing on our well-being, and embracing happiness in our lives, consider the insights you've gained today. What struck a chord with you the most? Perhaps it's the strength found in forgiveness or the way laughter serves as the ultimate remedy for both the body and the spirit. Or perhaps it's the undeniable reality that overlooking health indicators can lead to significant repercussions. Pause for a moment and reflect on a single lesson you've encountered today that you can incorporate into your life. I would be delighted to receive your thoughts. What is a lesson you are dedicated to embracing as you move ahead? We'd love to hear your insights in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful content. Your encouragement is invaluable to us.